Today's top stories. President Duterte renews his call for an all-out war against terrorism following the bombing of a church in Jolo, Sulu. The Philippine National Police is looking at the three persons of interest in the deadly blast. Government lawyers urge the Supreme Court to drop all petitions against the extension of martial law in Mindanao. And more than 100,000 board feet of illegal lumbers were confiscated in Surigao del Sur.
Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. President Rodrigo Duterte visited Jolo, Sulu to assess the situation following the bombing of a church that left at least 20 people dead. The president ordered a so-called all-out war against the perpetrators along with all terror groups. Rom Dulfo has the story.
President Rodrigo Duterte visited the Roman Catholic Church in Jolo, Sulu just a day after the twin explosions took place. The president attended a meeting with security officials and afterwards inspected the blast site. He also visited wounded soldiers and civilians and attended the wake of blast victims. Westmincom Public Affairs Head Colonel Jerry Bisana said the president ordered an all-out war against terror groups, especially those behind the attack. Earlier, the president expressed anger and disappointment over the bombing because there are forces that refuse to have peace in Mindanao. The palace said it will await results of investigation following suspicions that the bomb attacks might be related to the recently ratified Bangsamoro Organic Law. Meanwhile, authorities released CCTV footage of the suspects, which were spotted leaving before the explosion took place. Panello earlier shrugged off the statement of the Islamic State, taking responsibility of the attack, citing instead a possible security lapse. The military previously tagged the Abu Sayyaf as suspects. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Rom Dulfo.
The Philippine National Police is now looking at three persons of interest in the deadly blast in Jolo, Sulu that left at least 20 people dead and more than 100 others wounded. Joyce Kudis has this story.
The Philippine National Police identified three persons of interest in the deadly blast in Jolo, Sulu. One of them was identified as Kama, who was seen wearing a blue-green jacket, along with two others near the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Cathedral. PNP Chief Director General Oscar Albayalde said Kama belongs to the Abu Sayyaf subgroup Ajang-Ajang, which was earlier tagged by the military as the one behind the blast. Albayalde did not disclose any further details regarding Kama's identity, but a radio report said he is a brother of slain ASG leader Suraka Ingog. They have yet to establish whether the item Kama was trying to pass to his companion was the trigger of the bombs. The man was seen giving something to his companion wearing a cap and holding a bag, but they were abruptly cut when the first blast occurred. Another CCTV footage showed the man was able to pass the item to his companion. Panic ensued and the people started running away, including the three men. However, the man in blue-green jacket ran in an opposite direction. Kama was said to be the one who detonated the bombs. Albayalde said that the twin blast in Jolo, Sulu was an act of terror and has nothing to do with the Bangsamoro Organic Law. The death toll stands at 20 and 112 wounded. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Joyce Kudis.
The Catholic Church hopes for the continuation of the campaign for peace in Mindanao despite the two bombings that hit a church in Jolo, Sulu. Manila Archbishop Luis Antonio Cardinal Tagle appealed to Filipinos not to abandon the quest for peace. Instead of being discouraged, he says everyone must work for peace based on justice, truth, love, and respect for human life and dignity. Tagle also condemned the twin bombing at the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Cathedral, which killed at least 20 people. The Catholic prelate called on the perpetrators to stop their evil acts, ask for God's forgiveness, and start a new life. Malacanang expects the proposed 3.7 trillion national budget for 2019 to be passed this week. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panello made this remark amid ongoing bicameral conference committee deliberations on the General Appropriations Act for 2019. The palace hopes the BICAM to be smooth sailing and will leave it to Congress to decide on what to do with the 75 billion peso budget allegedly inserted for flood control projects. He said the job of the Congress is to review, amend, and restructure the budget. He believes the amount has already been redistributed to certain departments. Government lawyers asked the Supreme Court or SC to dismiss the 3 new petitions against the extension of martial law in Mindanao. Solicitor General Jose Calida sought a ruling from the High Court to throw out the original petition filed by lawmakers led by Albay Representative Edsel Lagman. Calida explained that all 4 suits contain the same arguments and should be dismissed for lack of merit. He cited an official report from the Armed Forces of the Philippines about the ongoing rebellion of ISIS-inspired groups and its allies, including the CPP-NPA forces in Mindanao. The Solicitor General also submitted the confidential report to the military that was used as basis for the extension of martial law until December 2019. Authorities is on the lookout against the entry of African swine fever and test to allot scholarship slots for tricycle drivers. More on these and other news around the metro from Benj Bondo.
The Bureau of Customs and Bureau of Animal Industry monitors the entry of meat products at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport to prevent the entry of African swine fever. The viral disease had infected pigs and other animals in several countries in Europe and Asia. Authorities have already confiscated an undisclosed amount of pork and processed meat from China, Taiwan, United States, Canada, and Australia. Passengers are reminded not to bring in meat products to avoid suspicion of infection. Meanwhile, Malacanang urged the Public Attorney's Office to substantiate claims that the Department of Health is bribing families of alleged victims to drop charges against officials involved in the controversial Dengvaxia program. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panello says, despite being mere allegations, PAO may file charges based on them if the need arises. He stressed for those involved to let due process run its course. In other news, TESDA provides 200 scholarship slots to tricycle drivers in Metro Manila. TESDA NCR has tapped the NCR Tricycle Operators and Drivers Association to benefit in this new initiative. The agency will also study and identify the courses suitable for the drivers. The scholarship will also be extended to the drivers' families in case the driver cannot enroll. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Benj Bondo.
Still to come, the House approves on third and final reading the bill lowering the age of social responsibility to 12. Police arrest 47 election gun ban violators in Central Luzon. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
Ito ang Duterte on Duty. Ulat sa ginagawa ng Presidente. January 18, Biyernes, Cotabato City. Hinimok ni Paulong Rodrigo Duterte ang Moro community na bumoto pabor sa ratifikasyon ng Bangsamoro Organic Law.
I am therefore issuing this call to my fellow Moro. Let us use the plebiscite as a peaceful means to finally correct the historical injustice committed against the Bangsamoro people. For the Moro people of Mindanao, let us forget the bitterness of the past and look forward to the future. Which means, ladies and gentlemen, mga mahal kong mga Moro brother or sister, magboto kayo ng yes.
January 21, Lunes, Malacanang. Tinanggap ng Pangulo ang credentials ng mga bagong ambassador mula sa Lithuania, Peru, Republic of the Gambia, Republic of Sudan, Turkmenistan at Uganda. Nag-courtesy call din sa Pangulo si Japanese Ambassador Koji Haneda. January 22, Martes, Lucena City. Panauhing pandangal si Pangulong Duterte sa taunang assembly ng Provincial Union of Leaders Against Illegality. January 23, Miyerkules, Pasay City. Dumalo ang Pangulo sa Tricycle Operators and Drivers Association o TODA Summit sa Cuneta Astrodome. Ako po si Secretary Martin Andanar. At ito ang Duterte on Duty. Abangan sa susunod na linggo ang mga gagawin ng Pangulo.
The House of Representatives on Monday approved on third and final reading a proposed bill lowering the minimum age of social responsibility from 15 years to 12 years. House Bill 8858 exempts children below 12 years old from criminal liability. Children 12 years of age and above but below 18 shall undergo intervention programs unless the minor acted with discernment. Those who commit serious crime shall be mandatorily placed in the Intensive Juvenile Intervention and Support Center. They would also face shorter penalties. Meanwhile, any person who uses a child for doing crimes shall be punished to a maximum of reclusion perpetua. Parents shall undergo mandatory intervention programs, including seminars and counseling, or else face imprisonment. They will also take responsibility for civil damages. The National Economic and Development Authority proposed the exemption of big-ticket infrastructure projects from the election spending ban. NEDA Secretary Ernesto Pernia says this will cushion the economic impact of the 2019 national budget's delayed passage. NEDA estimates that a reenacted budget should reduce the economic growth rate by 1.6 to 2.3 percentage points in case the situation lasts for a year. Pernia says he will discuss with other economic managers about a possible blanket application of the exemption covering all significant infrastructure projects. Priorities include big-ticket infrastructure under the Build, Build, Build program. Quality jobs have been created during the Duterte administration due to the high quality of investments entering the country. In 2017, the country posted its second lowest underemployment rate for the past 30 years. Investments in 2017 amounted to 766 billion pesos and 915 billion in 2018. For 2018 alone, sectors with highest value of investments were manufacturing, transport and storage, water and sewage, retail, and accommodation. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez says investments are becoming more inclusive as 86% of the total pledges are outside Metro Manila. He says the administration has been pushing for more investments outside Metro Manila to boost economic activities in other areas of the country. The International Committee of the Red Cross, or ICRC, has deplored the loss of lives and injuries to civilians that resulted from Sunday's twin explosions in Jolo, Sulu. In a statement, the ICRC delegation head Martin Talman called on all parties to meet their obligations under humanitarian law and ensure the safety of civilians. The ICRC team in Zamboanga City has coordinated with the Philippine Red Cross in responding to the incident. Two hospitals that received some of the injured recently received donations of medicines and medical supplies from the ICRC. A health team also assessed the needs of patients for possible support for their individual treatment. The RCRC supports even hospitals in conflict-affected areas in Mindanao with medicines and medical supplies. Baguio City seeks to promote itself as a city of good values. Meanwhile, police prepare to secure potential election watch list areas in Negros Oriental. More on this and other stories from the provinces from Janice Cave.
In Baguio, the city government has formed a values restoration team that would promote the city as a character city. Mayor Mauricio Domogan stressed the importance of values in a person's development and hopes to inspire residents to become law-abiding, values-oriented citizens. Meanwhile, in Central Luzon, at least 47 individuals were arrested and 83 firearms were seized since the start of the Comelec gun ban. 33 individuals died in police operations, most of whom during shootouts with authorities while evading checkpoints. The Police Regional Office 3 says there will be no let-up in preemptive measures being implemented in preparation for the 2019 midterm elections this May. In Negros Oriental, potential watch list areas are being awaited from the Regional Joint Security Control Center. The control center consists of the COMELEC, AFP, and PNP. Parameters being considered are intense political rivalry, the presence of armed groups, the presence of terrorists, and the possible use or deployment of private armies. Negros Oriental was among a number of provinces that were tagged as election hotspots in the 2016 polls. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
Up next, the country commemorates National Bible Day. More than 100,000 board feet of illegal lumber were confiscated in Surigao del Sur. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders. Future celebrations of the National Bible Day are expected to be bigger, with more sectors participating in the holiday. President Rodrigo Duterte declared the last January of every year as National Bible Day under Republic Act 11163. Senator Manny Pacquiao says they will encourage more people to celebrate the Word of God in their own special way. He says people can hold Bible study, Bible reading and flag ceremonies, Bible distribution, and other activities honoring the Bible and its lessons. In our foreign news, Brazilian officials suspended the search for potential survivors of a dam collapse here in the southeastern state of Minas Gerais. The collapse of the tailings dam owned by mining company Vale has so far left 58 dead and about 300 missing. Authorities expressed fears that another nearby dam owned by the same company could also break. Firefighters called for the evacuation of some 24,000 people from the Brazilian town hit by deadly mud flow. Brazil's Attorney General Raquel Dodge promised to investigate the mining dam collapse. There are about 600 mines in Minas Gerais alone that are at risk of rupture. And in sports, Team Lakay's Kevin Bellingon and Bibiano Fernandes are now facing each other for the third time in Tokyo. Bellingon defending his one bantamweight title against its former holder Fernandes. This is the third time the two are fighting over the championship belt. Fernandes won in their first showdown in Changsha by submission on 2016. Bellingon got payback just last November in Singapore with a split decision victory. Meanwhile, fellow Team Lakay member Edward Folayang will face off with Shinya Aoki in a rematch of their own for the one lightweight title in the headliner. More than 100,000 board feet of illegal lumber were confiscated by the NBI, DENR, Anti-Illegal Logging Task Force, and PNP in Surigao del Sur town. Jennifer Gaetano of PIA Caraga has the story.
The combined elements of the National Bureau of Investigation, Department of Environment and Natural Resources, Anti-Illegal Logging Task Force, and the Philippine National Police recently raided the two mini sawmill plants in Barangay Linintian, Cantilan, Surigao del Sur, and confiscated hundreds of volume of illegal lumber products being used in the production of furniture. Its volume may reach more than 100,000 board feet. The DENR also confiscated other apparatus and dismantled the sawmills. Also, at least 5 persons were arrested by NBI agents, including the two owners of the illegal sawmill plants. They were identified as Susana Miranda, Susan Rada, Joseph Guimare, Francisco Espinido, and Brian Rosano, all are residents of Cantilan, Surigao del Sur. DENR Caraga Regional Executive Director Attorney Felix Alicer said The raid of illegal sawmill is a manifestation of the government's serious and strict implementation of the law to get rid of illegal cutting of trees as well as denial of market to timber poaching activities. Since the DENR has been active in the National Greening Program, Attorney Eliser said it is logical that the people should be supportive to their campaign as it will bring good cost to the environment. Meanwhile, the suspects will undergo an inquest shortly at the fiscal office to face the criminal charges for destruction of natural resources. Senro Roel Efren also revealed that the confiscated lumber products were already scaled by his personnel. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Jennifer Peña Gaetano of the Philippine Information Agency, Caraga.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. And here's another look at today's top stories.
President Duterte renews his call for an all-out war against terrorism following the bombing of a church in Jolo, Sulu. The Philippine National Police is looking at the 3 persons of interest in the deadly blast. Government lawyers urge the Supreme Court to drop all petitions against the extension of martial law in Mindanao. And more than 100,000 board feet of illegal lumbers were confiscated in Surigao del Sur.
Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter. For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. And that's your daily dose of the latest news and information that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.